The bright lights of Harmony Station reflected off Lena's blue-tinted skin as she stepped through the airlock. Her four eyes blinked rapidly, adjusting to the station's artificial lighting. As the first Illyri xenobiologist to study humans up close, she felt both excitement and nervousness flutter through her secondary heart. Commander Tay watched the alien visitor with professional curiosity. He stood tall in his crisp uniform, his dark hair neatly trimmed according to space station regulations. As head of scientific operations, he had been preparing for this exchange program for months. "Welcome to Harmony Station," Tay said, extending his hand in the human greeting gesture they had discussed in preliminary communications. Lena hesitated before reaching out her slender, six-fingered hand. The touch of human skin felt unusually warm against her cool, slightly damp exterior. "Thank you, Commander. The Illyri Alliance is grateful for this opportunity." The human crew members lining the corridor stared with undisguised fascination. Most had never seen an alien in person before. Lena stood nearly 7 feet tall, her willowy frame swaying slightly with each movement. The breathing apparatus around her neck pulsed gently, converting extra oxygen from the human standard atmosphere into the methane-nitrogen mix her species required. "I'll show you to your laboratory," Tay said, gesturing toward the science wing. "We've modified it according to the specifications your government sent over." As they walked, Lena observed the humans they passed. Such diversity in just one species. Their skin tones ranged from pale to dark brown, their heights and builds varying dramatically. On her world, all Illyri shared the same basic coloration and physical structure, with only subtle differences marking regional variations. The laboratory doors slid open to reveal a spacious room filled with both human and Illyri equipment. A separate environmental chamber stood in one corner, its controls set to maintain the higher humidity and lower temperature Lena preferred during rest periods. "This is perfect," she said, her voice translator adding a slight musical quality to her words. "I can begin my comparative physiology studies immediately." Tay nodded. "My team has uploaded our medical database to your systems. You'll have complete access to human anatomical records. And I've brought comprehensive scans of Illyri biology to share," Lena replied, removing a data crystal from a compartment in her environmental suit. Later that evening, after the formal welcome reception, Lena sat alone in her specially designed quarters reviewing the preliminary human biological data. Their internal structures seemed both familiar and alien, a carbon-based species with similar basic needs for oxygen, water, and nutrients, yet with completely different evolutionary solutions. A gentle chime announced a visitor. The door slid open to reveal Commander Tay holding 2 containers. "I thought you might like to try some human beverages compatible with your biology," he explained. "Our scientists analyzed your nutritional requirements and synthesized something you might enjoy." Lena accepted the container with a traditional Illyri headbow. "A thoughtful gesture, please enter." Tay sat across from her, carefully keeping a respectful distance. "How are you finding our station so far?" "Fascinating," Lena replied, sipping the beverage through her specialized intake valve. It tasted surprisingly pleasant, something like the sea fruits of her homeworld. "Your species has accomplished much in such a short evolutionary period." "We're persistent," Tay said with a smile, "though I imagine we must seem primitive compared to the Illyri civilization." Lena's skin rippled with blue-green patterns, an Illyri expression of disagreement. "Different paths, not better or worse. Your species adapted to land environments while mine evolved in deep oceans. Each path presented unique challenges." Their conversation continued for hours, moving from biology to culture, technology to art. Despite coming from worlds light years apart, they found surprising common ground in scientific curiosity. The next morning, Lena began her formal research. She calibrated her instruments to human biological parameters and prepared culture samples for comparative analysis. Commander Tay had assigned 2 human scientists, Dr. Kim and Dr. Park, to assist her. "How do humans handle extreme temperature variations?" Lena asked as they worked. "Your species has settled in environments ranging from Arctic to desert conditions." Dr. Kim displayed thermal imaging scans. "Our thermoregulation systems are quite adaptable. We sweat to cool down and shiver to warm up. Plus, we've developed technologies to extend our natural tolerances. Lena's translator couldn't quite capture her fascinated response. On her water world, temperatures remained constant in the deep ocean trenches. The idea of a species that could function in such varied conditions seemed almost magical. As the first week of the exchange program continued, Lena gradually adjusted to human schedules and customs. She found herself particularly intrigued by Commander Tay's methodical approach to science. Where Aeluri researchers tended toward intuitive leaps, humans seemed to prefer structured hypothesis testing. What had begun as a simple scientific mission was becoming something more. A genuine cultural exchange that would forever change how both species viewed their place in the universe. Lena sat alone in her laboratory during the night cycle of Harmony Station. Most humans were asleep, giving her the quiet she needed to focus. Her 4 eyes blinked rapidly as she scrolled through the human medical database. After 2 weeks on the station, she had grown comfortable with the human computer systems. Computer, display complete human reproductive anatomy, she said. The screen filled with detailed diagrams that made her pause. She leaned closer, thinking, there must be some error in the translation software. According to these diagrams, human males carried their reproductive organs externally, exposed to the environment. This seemed impossible from an evolutionary standpoint. On her water world, all vital organs were protected inside the body. Computer, confirm accuracy of male anatomical display, she requested. Diagrams are medically accurate, the computer responded. Lena's skin rippled with patterns of surprise, her natural bioluminescence glowing brighter in the dimly lit room. She had to consult with Commander Tay about this unusual feature. Perhaps the diagrams were simplified for educational purposes. The next morning, she found Commander Tay in the station's cafeteria. He sat alone, reviewing reports while eating something called oatmeal. Lena approached his table carrying her datapad. Commander Tay, may I join you? I have questions about human biology that require clarification. He gestured to the empty seat. Of course, researcher Lena. What can I help you with? Lena placed her datapad on the table and activated the display. The detailed anatomical diagrams appeared, causing Tay to nearly choke on his breakfast. I was reviewing your species' reproductive systems last night, she stated matter-of-factly. Is it accurate that human males carry their reproductive organs externally? This seems dangerously vulnerable from an evolutionary perspective. Commander. Tay's face suddenly changed color, turning noticeably redder. Lena observed this with interest, wondering if this was the blushing response she had read about. A curious, involuntary reaction triggered by embarrassment. Yes, that's... He cleared his throat. That's accurate, but perhaps the cafeteria isn't the best place for this discussion. Lena looked around, noticing several humans at nearby tables trying not to stare. She didn't understand the discomfort. On her world, biological discussions were purely scientific. Have I violated a social protocol? She asked. My research indicates humans separate scientific discussion from casual settings. Something like that, Tay said quietly. Human culture considers reproductive anatomy a private topic, especially in public spaces. Fascinating, Lena replied, her skin displaying patterns of new understanding. Yet I noticed your medical textbooks are quite detailed. The separation seems arbitrary. They moved their discussion to a private conference room where Commander Tay explained human concepts of privacy and social boundaries. Lena listened with genuine interest, taking notes for her cultural research. But you still haven't explained the evolutionary advantage, she persisted. External organs seem unnecessarily vulnerable to injury. Tay took a deep breath. It's related to temperature regulation. Human reproductive cells require temperatures slightly lower than our core body temperature to develop properly. Ah, Lena's eyes widened with understanding. A thermal regulation adaptation. That makes perfect sense. My species maintains different body temperatures in specialized internal chambers for similar purposes. The conversation grew more comfortable as they shifted to a purely scientific exchange. Tay explained how different evolutionary pressures had shaped human physiology. while Lena described the Alluri reproductive process involving specialized internal chambers and bioluminescent signaling. That afternoon, Lena prepared for her scheduled presentation on comparative biology to the station's scientific team. She carefully revised her slides, removing any content that might cause human discomfort based on her new understanding of their social norms. When Dr. Kim entered the laboratory to help with preparations, she found Lena still puzzling over human cultural contradictions. "Your species watches entertainment featuring violence and death without discomfort," Lena observed, yet becomes uncomfortable discussing natural biological functions. "The logic escapes me." Dr. Kim smiled. "Human culture isn't always logical. We have layers of social rules that evolved over thousands of years. Some topics became taboo for religious or social reasons, not scientific ones, like how your people wear coverings called clothes at all times, even when they serve no temperature regulation purpose." "Exactly," Dr. Kim nodded. "Cultural practices often outlive their original purposes." During her presentation later that day, Lena carefully navigated human sensitivities while still delivering scientifically accurate information. She noticed Commander Tay nodding approvingly from the back of the room. "While our species evolved in radically different environments," she concluded, "we share remarkable similarities in our adaptive solutions. What appears as vulnerability in one context may be sophisticated adaptation in another." After the presentation, Commander Tay approached her. "You handled that beautifully, especially given our cultural differences." Lena's skin glowed with patterns of appreciation. "Science transcends cultural boundaries, Commander. Though I still have much to learn about when humans prefer scientific accuracy and when they prefer—" "What is your phrase? Sugarcoating?" Tay laughed. "Close enough. Sugarcoating. You're getting better at human expressions." As they walked together toward the station's observation deck, Lena realized that understanding human anatomy was far simpler than understanding human culture, but both were equally fascinating studies for an alien scientist far from home. The main conference room of Harmony Station buzzed with excitement. Humans and Alluri gathered for the first formal scientific exchange session. Large screens displayed data in both human and Alluri writing systems. Special lighting had been installed to accommodate the different visual needs of both species. Lena stood at the front of the room, her blue skin glowing slightly with nervous energy. She had practiced her presentation for days, carefully balancing scientific accuracy with human cultural sensitivities. Commander Tay sat in the front row, giving her an encouraging nod. "Today I will share our comparative analysis of human and Alluri biological systems," Lena began. Her translator converted her natural clicks and whistles into smooth human speech. "Our species evolved on very different worlds, yet we found surprising similarities." She activated the first display, showing side-by-side images of human and Alluri cellular structures. Both our species use DNA as genetic material, though Alluri DNA contains additional elements to handle pressure adaptation for deep ocean living. The human scientist leaned forward, clearly fascinated. Dr. Park raised his hand. "Can you explain the bioluminescent structures in your cells? Do they serve a communication function?" "Excellent question," Lena replied. "Our cellular light production serves multiple purposes. Communication is one, but also navigation in deep waters and even internal body regulation." Commander Tay added, "Humans have nothing similar, though some earth creatures like fireflies and deep-sea fish developed bioluminescence." The presentation continued smoothly until Lena reached the section on reproductive biology. She paused, remembering her previous misunderstanding in the cafeteria. She had revised this section carefully. "Now we come to one of the most interesting differences between our species," she said. "Reproduction." A slight tension filled the room. Commander Tay shifted in his seat. "Alluri reproduce through a process of internal genetic exchange," Lena explained, displaying diagrams of her species' reproductive chambers. "All our vital systems are contained within protective body cavities." She changed the display to show the human reproductive system, carefully using medical terminology. Humans, however, evolved a different approach. The male reproductive system includes external components that initially surprised our research team. A few nervous laughs came from the human side of the room. Lena continued with scientific calm. What first appeared as an evolutionary vulnerability is actually a sophisticated adaptation, she explained. The external positioning allows precise temperature regulation necessary for reproductive cell development. The tension in the room eased as the humans realized she was approaching the topic with scientific respect rather than alien judgment. This is a perfect example of different evolutionary solutions to similar problems, Lena concluded. Ailuri use specialized internal temperature chambers, while humans developed external structures with remarkable temperature sensitivity. During the break that followed, humans and Ailuri mingled in small groups. Commander Tay approached Lena by the refreshment table. That was handled perfectly, he said. You found the right balance between scientific accuracy and cultural sensitivity. Lena's skin shifted to a pattern expressing pleasure. Science should unite us, not create discomfort. I'm learning that how information is presented matters as much as the information itself. Dr. Kim joined them, carrying samples of both human and Ailuri-compatible drinks. Your presentation was fascinating. I especially liked your comparison of our different circulatory systems. Yes, said Lena, taking the special drink designed for her biology. Humans use a single heart while Ailuri have a primary and secondary heart. Yet both systems efficiently deliver nutrients throughout the body. The second half of the exchange session featured Commander Tay presenting human findings about Ailuri biology. He showed particular interest in the pressure adaptation mechanisms that allowed Ailuri to survive in deep ocean environments. The human scientific community is especially interested in your cellular pressure resistance, he explained. Understanding these adaptations could help us develop better technology for deep space and deep ocean exploration. Lena found herself fascinated by how humans approached scientific questions. They seemed more willing to take risks, to try unexpected approaches. Ailuri science tended to be more methodical, building carefully on established knowledge. After the formal presentations ended, the real scientific exchange began. Small groups formed around the room with humans and Ailuri comparing notes, sharing data, and designing joint experiments. Lena found herself in deep discussion with Dr. Park about comparative immune systems. Human immune responses involve fever, raising body temperature to fight infection, Dr. Park explained. How do Ailuri handle pathogens? We produce specialized enzymes that change our internal chemistry, Lena replied. Rather than heat, we use chemical shifts to create environments hostile to invading organisms. As the evening progressed, the initial awkwardness between species faded. Scientific curiosity bridged the gap between their different worlds. Lena noticed humans becoming more comfortable asking questions that had previously seemed too personal or sensitive. Later, as the session ended, Commander Tay and Lena walked together toward the station's residential section. Today was a breakthrough, Commander Tay said. Real scientific exchange happens when we move past seeing each other as strange and start seeing each other as different solutions to the same problems of survival. Lena's skin glowed with agreement patterns. Your species has a wonderful saying. There are many paths to the same mountaintop. Today we discovered that evolution follows the same principle. As they parted ways at Lena's quarters, she realized something important had shifted. She no longer saw humans as just research subjects. They were becoming colleagues, perhaps even friends. Despite their biological differences, their shared curiosity about the universe created a powerful bond. The warning sirens blared throughout Harmony Station, their harsh sound cutting through the normal quiet hum of machinery. Red emergency lights flashed in every corridor. Commander Tay raced toward the control center, his heart pounding. "Status report," he shouted as he entered the main control room. "Solar flare, sir," responded the station's operations officer. "Much larger than predicted. The radiation shield on the science wing is failing." On the monitor, Tay could see that several crew members were trapped in different sections of the station. His eyes widened when he spotted Lena's life sign in Research Lab 4, one of the areas with rapidly failing environmental controls. Get me communications with Lab 4, he ordered, grabbing an emergency kit. Meanwhile, Lena was trying to secure delicate equipment when the lab doors suddenly sealed shut with a heavy metallic thud. The lights flickered, then switched to emergency mode, casting the room in a dim red glow. "Attention all personnel," came the automated voice. "Emergency lockdown initiated. Radiation shielding compromised. Please remain in your current location until further notice." Lena felt the temperature in the room beginning to drop. Without the main power systems, the environmental controls were failing. For humans, this would be uncomfortable but manageable for several hours. For an Aeluri from a warm ocean world, rapidly dropping temperatures posed a serious threat. The communication panel on the wall beeped. Lena pressed the receive button. "Lena, this is Commander Tay. Are you all right?" "For now," she replied, her translator making her voice sound unusually flat as it compensated for her stress patterns. "But the temperature is falling. My environmental suit was charging in my quarters. I only have my basic work clothing." Tay's voice was calm but serious. "The solar flare damaged our main power couplings. Repair teams are working, but it will take at least 3 hours to restore power to your section. Can your biology handle cold temperatures for that long?" Lena's skin flickered with worry patterns. "Below 15 degrees Celsius, my cellular functions begin to slow. Below 10 degrees, I enter a form of hibernation that can damage my neural pathways." The room was already at 19 degrees and dropping steadily. "I'm coming to you," Tay decided. "There's an emergency access tunnel that bypasses the main corridors. Hold tight." 30 minutes later, Lena heard metallic sounds from a panel near the floor. The panel popped open and Commander Tay squeezed through the narrow opening, pulling an emergency pack behind him. "The things I do for interspecies diplomacy," he joked, though his expression was serious. His uniform was covered in dust and lubricant from the tight maintenance tunnel. The room temperature had dropped to 16 degrees. Lena's movements were already becoming slower, her normally fluid grace replaced by stiffer motions. "I brought thermal blankets and chemical heat packs," Tay said, opening his emergency kit. "They won't solve the problem completely, but they might help until power is restored." Lena's skin had taken on a grayish tint, a warning sign of temperature, stress in her species. "Thank you. Human ingenuity continues to impress me." Tay wrapped the special reflective blankets around her tall frame and activated several heat packs, placing them strategically around her body. "In your research," he asked as he worked, "did you happen to study human body heat as a survival mechanism?" "Yes," Lena replied, her speech slowing. "Humans generate significant thermal energy. Your species maintains remarkably stable internal temperatures despite environmental changes." Tay nodded. "Which means I can help you more directly." He sat beside her and carefully wrapped his arms around her blanket-covered form. "Human body heat, about 37 degrees Celsius. Not a perfect solution, but better than nothing." Lena was momentarily startled by the direct physical contact, something rare in Aeluri culture. But the sudden warmth radiating from the human's body was undeniably helping. "This is why your species survives," she said quietly. "You adapt so quickly. On my world, we would have complex protocols, specialized equipment. You simply find solutions with what you have." "Necessity drives innovation," Tay replied. "Earth's constantly changing environments forced us to become problem solvers." As they waited for the repair teams to restore power, they talked to keep their spirits up. Lena explained how Aeluri society valued careful planning and risk avoidance, natural results of evolving in a stable, deep ocean environment. Tay described how human history was shaped by adaptation to wildly different conditions across one small planet. 2 hours later, a slight vibration ran through the station. The normal lights flickered on, and the environmental system hummed back to life. "Power restored," announced the station's AI. "Climate controls reinitializing." Lena's skin slowly returned to its healthy blue color as the room warmed. "It seems I have collected more research data today than expected," she said, her normal fluid movements gradually returning. Human crisis management has fascinating practical applications. When the doors finally unlocked, medical teams were waiting outside. Dr. Kim rushed to check Lena's vital signs. "Your temperature dropped dangerously low," she said, reviewing the medical scanner readings. "You're lucky Commander Tay reached you when he did." "Not luck," Lena replied. "Human determination, a quality I failed to fully appreciate until today." She turned to Commander Tay, who was speaking with the repair team leader. "It seems I have much more to learn about humans beyond your unusual anatomy." That evening, the station's crew gathered in the common area, humans and Ailuri together, sharing stories of how they had weathered the crisis. The solar flare had brought danger, but it had also brought something unexpected, a deeper understanding between two very different species from worlds, light years apart. The observation deck of Harmony Station offered the best view of Earth. Lena stood by the large window, watching the blue planet slowly rotate below. In just 2 days, she would board the Ailuri ship and return to her homeworld. Her 3-month research mission complete, the door slid open behind her. Commander Tay entered carrying 2 containers of drinks. "I thought you might like one last taste of that fruit blend you enjoy," he said, offering her the specially designed cup. "The nutrition team made an extra batch for you to take home." Lena took the cup, her skin rippling with patterns of gratitude. "Thank you. I will miss this taste." She paused, looking back at Earth, and many other things about this place. They stood in comfortable silence watching the planet turn. The sun peaked around its edge, creating a beautiful glow of atmosphere. "I completed my final report yesterday," Lena said. "Would you like to know my conclusions?" Tay nodded. "I'm curious what you'll tell your people about us." Lena activated her datapad and brought up her report. "My initial research question was how humans survived despite seemingly vulnerable biological design. I expected to find advanced technology compensating for evolutionary weaknesses." Her long fingers scrolled through the document. "Instead, I discovered something far more interesting. Human biology isn't poorly designed, it's differently optimized. Your species sacrificed certain protections to gain remarkable adaptability." Tay smiled. "That's a charitable way of putting it." "It's scientifically accurate," Lena corrected. "Consider your reproductive anatomy that so surprised me when I first arrived. What I saw as dangerously exposed external organs, you explained, as sophisticated temperature regulation systems. Both perspectives are correct, just viewed through different evolutionary lenses." She continued scrolling through her report. "After the solar flare incident, I added a new section about human crisis response. Your ability to improvise solutions with limited resources is unmatched among spacefaring species we've encountered." Tay looked embarrassed. "We just do what needs to be done." "Exactly," Lena said, her skin flashing with patterns of emphasis. "That attitude, doing what needs to be done without perfect preparations, is uniquely human. Ailuri would never attempt space travel without triple redundant systems for every function. Humans built rockets that barely worked and trusted yourselves to solve problems as they arose." She closed her datapad and turned fully toward Tay. "My report concludes that human anatomy perfectly reflects human psychology. Both appear vulnerable at first glance but contain surprising strengths designed for maximum adaptability, rather than perfect protection." Tay considered this. "I never thought of it that way. We tend to see our bodies as something we need to protect and our minds as something separate." "They are connected," Lena replied. "Your external reproductive organs mirror your external problem-solving approach. You engage directly with your environment rather than building perfect internal defenses." They watched as the station's orbit carried them into Earth's shadow. The observation deck lights dimmed automatically to allow better viewing of the stars. "What about you?" Tay asked. "Has this experience changed how you see Ailuri biology and culture?" Lena was quiet for a moment, her skin showing thoughtful patterns. "Yes. I now see that our internal protective systems reflect our cautious, planning-focused society. We evolved in stable deep oceans, so we value stability above all else." She placed her hand against the window, her blue skin contrasting with the blackness of space. But stability can become stagnation. Your species embraces change. Even your bodies change temperature constantly, yet you maintain function. Change isn't always good, Tay noted. Human history is full of mistakes and disasters. Yes, but you learn from them, Lena replied. The Alluri avoid mistakes by avoiding risks. We progress slowly but safely. Humans take risks, make mistakes, then adapt and try again. From Tay's pocket came a soft beep. He checked his communications device. The farewell ceremony is starting in 10 minutes. The station commander will present you with an official gift. Lena's skin glowed with patterns of mixed emotion. I have a gift for you as well. My research team has developed a medical treatment based on Alluri cellular repair mechanisms. It could help human astronauts recover from radiation exposure. Tay looked surprised. That's incredibly generous. It is fair exchange, Lena said. Your people shared valuable data on temperature adaptation that will help my species explore warmer waters on our homeworld. As they walked toward the ceremony, Lena made one final observation. When I first arrived, I was shocked by human male anatomy. Now I understand it as just one example of your species' fascinating approach to survival. And what approach is that? Tay asked. Accepting vulnerability as the price of adaptability, Lena replied. Carrying important things openly rather than hiding them behind perfect defenses. The station's main hall was filled with humans and the few remaining Alluri researchers. As Lena entered, she saw the bonds that had formed between the two species. Scientists exchanged contact information and promised to continue joint research. Some even attempted each other's traditional farewell gestures. Your anatomical differences first separated us, Lena said quietly to Tay. But understanding those differences has brought us together. Tay smiled. That's the real purpose of science, not just collecting facts, but building bridges. The ceremony began, marking not an ending, but the beginning of a new relationship between two worlds, united by curiosity about their differences and similarities alike.